I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed.
I'm very disappointed.
I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
I was really disappointed. Well, I'm very disappointed in the president's actions,
And that really troubles me.
All right, everybody. Welcome to E Potibus Unum.
Unum.
I'm Dan. I can add an echo later. I'm Dan.
Sunday.
This Sunday, Gravedigger.
Dan Gravedigger.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You can reach us where, Eitan?
At epotibus at Gmail.
And
At epotibus at Twitter. We have epotibus unum on Facebook.
we're everywhere.
Yeah.
Just Google E Potibus Unum.
I think we have a
And that is spelled E.
PODIBUS UNUM.
I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of people are using the word traitor recently.
Yeah.
And we've been using the word traitor to describe Republicans since the second episode.
Oh, yeah.
We were on the cusp. We were on the tip of the spear. We've been telling people, guys, they're literally traitors to the Constitution. They're doing things that are completely against the Constitution, completely against everything the Founding Fathers thought, the intention of the words behind the Constitution.
Yeah.
They're acting in traitorous ways. And now you have, not radical people calling them traitors.
Right.
Like a lot of news people.
Sure. Yeah.
Certain people in politics.
Do you have an example?
Political experts. There's too many to just name one.
Oh, okay. You can't name
No,
just
but
one?
literally authors, usually, people that are in like the regular
So, like,
mainstream
yeah.
media, they're using the word now. And it's important that as a party, Democrats need to use that word, especially Democrats in very liberal cities and states. They need to use this word because we need to paint them across the board as traitors. you know?
Well, it's also like GOP Traitors has been trending quite a while on Twitter also now.
Right. We're not taking credit for it, but we're just saying it's not a coincidence that everyone started saying it after we've been saying it for months now.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, listen, we may not have a lot of listeners, but our listeners are international.
Yeah, that's true.
If you look at the thing, we have a guy in England. I think I saw someone in Czechoslovakia.
Okay, well, that doesn't exist anymore, so...
Then what the hell was I reading? Maybe I saw the word chocolate and thought it was Czechoslovakia.
That sounds more likely.
They're both delicious.
I love having conversation with you because it's like being on Sesame Street and talking to a Muppet.
Here's the thing, guys. We have to paint the party, not just, a person here, a person there. We have to paint the whole party as traitors. Okay?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they are.
Well, they are. And as of this recording, they, with the exception of Mitt Romney, voted to acquit Trump. And that is unprecedented in U.S. history to have an entire party bend the knee to a very fascist authoritarian. It's incredibly scary.
This whole party is corrupt. One of the things is also with the, I believe it was in South Carolina where that guy was taking the mail-in votes of people and then filling them in.
Yeah.
We have people that are
He's in jail now.
Oh, good. How long did he get? They should have thrown the book at him.
I don't know. He probably got a very short book.
In jail for years who made a mistake. One guy was like a business owner and he had a business in one state and then he lived in another and he thought he could vote. Now, you can give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Maybe give him like a light sentence, Maybe he was trying to get one over, but something like that is a mistake. He's doing years.
Right.
There's this other woman who is I think she has a green card or something, and she thought she could vote because she had seen signs and blah, blah.
I think there's a woman who was an ex-felon on something minor.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. She was an ex-felon, and then she thought she could vote.
I think it was Texas. Sounds like Texas.
Right. Because in a lot of states now, people are getting the right to vote. In some states,
these vagaries aren't helping it.
You usually would get your right to vote back after parole and stuff like that. So the laws are all over the place. This woman had no idea.
Right.
And she, basically voted for accident. She's getting years.
It's state to state. Florida had a referendum which passed to restore the voting rights of 1.5 million ex-felons.
Right.
And then
the treacherous Republicans.
Literally implemented a poll tax on them.
I know. It is unbelievable. Here's the thing, guys. Anyone listening to this,
to try to stop it, and that's working its way through the courts.
This is why we have to keep on fighting constantly, because this is a fucking war. You know, these people, even though the will of the people is like, yeah, after you serve your time, you serve your debts to society. You shouldn't have to keep on paying for a crime by not being allowed to vote. And also, you know, voting is part of being part of a community. And we want these people to come back and be part of a community, not feel separate from the community.
That helps.
It's ridiculous.
Reduce recidivism.
But that's bad for Republicans. The more people that vote, the worse it is for Republicans. I didn't say that other than right now, but a Republican said that. They know the deal. Here's my point with all this is we have to say it's not just that one guy in South Carolina. It's the whole party. The whole party is against voting, which in my mind, I think is the foundation of any democracy.
Well, I don't know.
The vote of the people.
Do you remember this was a few weeks ago? It leaked, audio leaked of a Trump surrogate talking about how the GOP is involved in voter suppression nationwide, and it was kind of like a mini scandal. It wasn't actually Trump; it was one of his someone on his campaign staff.
You're proving my point exactly. It's the whole party is rotten. It's not just Trump; it's the whole party.
Yeah, but so I think people are coming around to that, and we have to keep on
messaging and pushing it constantly, because that's how these ideas get out there.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Christianity and religion, there's this crazy Christian called Mike Heath. He is doing a world tour, and it's called Faggots Are Maggots.
Wow.
Yeah. This is Trump-style Christianity. So we have to, message this out as this is Trump's Christianity. Faggots or maggots.
Well, think
in it, he says this. He literally says, "Yeah, this is Trump style." He says Trump says the truth. He doesn't pussyfoot around. He says the truth, and this is the truth. Yada yada yada. That's literally Trump-style Christianity.
I would like to see more evangelicals and more religious people talk about how the left has ceded the ground to the right on owning the idea of Christianity. I think one of the people out there who's been doing an amazing job is the Reverend William Barber down in North Carolina, who's had Moral Mondays. And there are several others as well. But, if you say the word, Christian in America, you automatically think of a white conservative who has basically supplanted the idea of Christianity with this nonsense of conservatism. And I've seen on a church it said, choose Trump or God, you can only follow one. Obviously not a conservative church, but they have these mega churches in the Bible Belt that preach this kind of prosperity evangelicalism, which is basically a con person saying, give me all your money and then God will reward you, and all these people end up destitute.
That's not the worst of it. The worst is like that woman who's Trump's right-hand woman, the one with her own mega church saying that the president is working for God, that if you don't vote for the president, that if you don't give money, then you're facing hellfire. I mean, this is madness.
Yeah, well, it is. It is absolutely insane.
But this is where religion gets you. Faggots or maggots. Let's let that sink in. This is how we're treating each other as people.
That's how they're treating us. We as Americans can unite and come together to fight back against this, because most Americans do not believe this.
I'm all about fighting back.
And now the second part of our discussion on freedom that we began last week.
Woo!
So these are ideas that we've talked about in the past, things like roads and bridges. So people have the freedom to travel, but also to move goods about and provide services. Patents and the Commerce Clause, those are in the Constitution. We have public education so that we have a more free populace. That was why when they were talking about the establishment of public education, those were the cases that were made for it.
Socialism. All that is socialism.
and also so that businesses have the most well-educated employees, which was something that they used to want and don't really anymore. And we could get it.
Well, I mean, yeah,
that.
but also now it's even harder for a lot of companies to find people, because now even we used to get a lot of immigrants to fill positions, and now that's being cut off by Trump. And now guess who's benefiting? Canada.
Right.
Canada is opening up a lot, and they're getting a lot of tech jobs that could be in the U.S.
Right.
providing tax money. But now all that money is going to Canada.
Well, let me be a typical Democrat and progressive in some stats and partial stats.
Easy.
I don't have everything.
Don't go too crazy with the numbers.
I don't have it on me. Basically, it's that immigrants create more businesses at a greater rate than natural-born Americans.
I mean, what I was saying specifically is that tech companies like Google, for instance, they can't now get the people they used to be able to get because Trump has just cut that number. So now those people, they're still hiring them, but they're saying, okay, person from wherever country.
Shithole country.
From wherever shithole country you're coming from. They're saying now you can work in Canada.
Right.
Okay. You can work in an office we have there. And there, they've got healthcare and yada, yada, yada.
And it's harder here because so many states have cut public education, not only in their universities, but in their K through 12, that it's hard to educate people for these, very difficult,
there aren't
very
STEM programs and
specified jobs. Also ideas like public hospitals and, of course, a justice system, as well as police to protect us, military to protect both citizens, and, of course, also businesses. So, when we send our military overseas on these adventures for profit, it tends to piss off the American people because we don't send the U.S. military to...
We're getting so much money
to protect businesses.
From Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God.
So much money right now, guys.
Even Rex Tillerson, who used to head up an oil company, the largest oil company, had to admonish Trump and say, quote, "The men and women who put on a uniform don't do it to become soldiers of fortune. That's not why they put on a uniform and go out and die. They do it to protect our freedom."
Tillerson was a classic never Trumper. Super never Trumper. Never liked him.
That is from a fucking oil exec who had no government experience whatsoever and was our Secretary of State, and yet he knew more about the ideas of freedom and this country than Trump.
He was good, and then I didn't like him. He's a never Trumper.
Also, we have to think about freedom this way. The government provides businesses with these technologies for free. We develop satellites and GPS, and we have NOAA. Remember, Trump tried to falsify a fucking map?
Super haters, guys.
But we are like the foremost authority in the world for, oceanic and atmospheric studies. And he's trying to fudge that. I don't know if you guys remember why that was such a scandal, why it was so important, because if we can't rely on...
It's just
scientific.
so absurd that if you were to... This is one of the many, many, many things that if you were to put into a book or a movie, people be like, the president is not going to take a Sharpie and draw a line where a fake hurricane would have been on the path. Like, that's ridiculous. Please remove this from your book. What are you doing to me?
Yeah.
The editor would go nuts.
Happen. Yeah.
But that literally happened in a real country.
What we do with this technology is we then allow private corporations to build upon the technology and privatize it, just like bottled water, which is a concept that I never understood. You're privatizing a public good, but anyway, another time. And they make zero payments to the American people. They make zero payments back into our democracy. And then once this faceless corporation has consumed all the others, has grown so big, and as we said before, either by shady business practices or because they got huge tax scams in their favor, they look around and they say, hey, our technology might be outdated or it might be changing, but innovating costs money. So let's not do that. We've sucked up our competitors and I'm a public company. I need to generate short-term profits because Milton Friedman said the business of business is business, and Ayn Rand said the only morality is the market. So therefore, I can do whatever I want. That is my freedom. So I will not innovate. I will make money through lobbying. Remember, we talked about the 22,000% that you get back on lobbying. I will fire all my employees and then hire them back as independent contractors. I'm not responsible in any way for the healthcare, for the retirements.
That's good business sense.
And I have enhanced my freedom. But what you have done is you have exponentially restricted and oppressed the freedom of all of those employees and everybody who interacts with said business.
So what you're saying is you're saying that like companies are like my truck.
How so?
In that it's my damn truck and screw y'all.
Yeah. When you want to go through a red light at 60.
Cool. The companies are cool then, man.
It didn't always used to be like this, but that's what it is now.
I don't know how awesome companies were, dude.
So repugs want to take a public resource and privatize them. That is the opposite of what this country was founded upon, is the opposite of our ideas. And it is the Republican war on the American people in no uncertain terms. Progressives have 4 large problems. The first is that when we campaign, our in-group is all Americans. As President Obama pointedly stated, my liberty depends on you being free too. The second is, to quote Mike Royko, it's much harder to be a liberal than a conservative. Why? Because it's easier to give someone the finger than a helping hand.
Yep. That's true, man, dude.
Damn it, Cletus.
If I had a nickel, hey, I'm still here, man. I'm partying with y'all.
Yep.
If I had a nickel for every time I gave someone a finger, man, I'd have like $1 million, pretty much, because it's so damn easy.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I'm giving you one right now, boy.
It's literally like listening to Yoda describe the dark side of the Force of quicker, easier, and more seductive. Meanwhile, we need to mobilize and inspire people toward a goal, which is far harder. And all they have to do is scare people away from fear.
What? Scare people away from fear?
Yeah. Away from fear. They have to scare people and move them away from fear. We're moving toward a goal, right? We build things, they destroy things.
Right. I mean, it's more they have to create a fear.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that's just not really there.
Sure. But it's far easier to mobilize people when you scare the shit out of them.
Right, yeah.
Than to inspire them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think fear and anger are definitely the strongest emotions.
And which, by the way, again, probably for another podcast, but why don't we do that? Like, we need to explain to people, like, the real fears are fears of progressives, because that shit is actually happening. Like, it's not like there's a caravan here or Sharia laws being implemented in Oklahoma.
Man, over my dead body. I got kinfolk down there, and I don't want them to be Muslim. I don't.
No, they just have Christian Sharia law.
Well, I mean, that's just God's way, man.
Yeah.
You don't know about that because you don't believe in him.
The third problem that we have is a huge demographic problem, in that we have to appeal to a larger, more diverse base, and we have people of all ethnicities, creeds, ages, genders.
I have the most genders ever. Trump loves the LGBTQ community.
That is not true.
It's true because I said it.
The Repug Party is far more monolithic. They're white, Christian, and older, so they can simply play to their base to galvanize them, whereas we're disparate. And the fourth and final one is, as people move out of more rural states and into cities, this leaves those states as conservative strongholds, which allows them to keep the Senate, which in turn allows them to obstruct legislation that the American people actually want from becoming law. And furthermore, it allows them to stack the courts. So it's very easy to be upset at Republicans for all this, and rightfully so. But a good portion of the blame also goes to the Democrats, in that they are not pushing harder for equal representation, for statehood, for DC and Puerto Rico, if not Guam and other territories. And it goes to one of the Democrats' biggest problems, which is that we constantly avoid doing the right thing because we're so scared of how the repugs will politicize it and make a nonpartisan issue seem partisan. See, climate change, for example, anything, voter rights, equal rights. Furthermore, it sends a message that the Democratic Party is more comfortable having black and brown people disenfranchised than for them to stand up for what's right.
Dems really, really got to harness the power of black women in this country, because I mean they just keep on ignoring like the most loyal faction that you have. Like, seriously,
that's true. It's when black and brown women come out that good people win.
Yeah.
When black and brown people come out and vote, good people win.
Listen to black women.
So America is becoming more diverse and more progressive, while the Senate and the right-wing extremists that they pack the courts with are forcing Americans to live under rule that they did not vote for. And that is not what by the people means. This is exacerbated because the right has become so much more extremist. The Repug Party has done away with blue slips, which used to not be partisan, and now for some reason are.
What? Hold on, man. Now I know y'all gonna say I'm ignorant. What is a blue slip?
So when a federal judge was nominated and needs to be confirmed by the Senate, then the state in which that judge was nominated from, those two senators get blue slips, literally blue pieces of paper, of whether they approve or disapprove of the judge, and that is taken into consideration before it goes to a vote.
Okay, I totally knew that, by the way. Just want to make sure you did, Mr. Smarty Pants. All right, then.
They have to pack the courts with judges that are rated unqualified by the American Bar Association simply because no qualified judges exist that are this partisan, that are this extreme, that are this spiteful toward the American people.
Just to that point, this is Dan here, by the way.
Oh, hey, Dan. Welcome back.
No, but one of the things is we have to, when we finally get a goddamn reasonable president in there, we can't then go back to quote unquote normal. Okay. We have to do a hard left and we have to readjust, which means we have to put in even more judges. Like we have to play the game even worse.
We have to correct the justice. We need a justice correction.
We need a hard correction, not a go
correction.
Back to the middle.
Yeah.
We have to go beyond and correct this shit.
The way they call it a market correction, except instead of a euphemism, this actually is a real correction.
Yeah, so the blue slips are gone. We're just going to do what the hell we want. Yeah. That's the only way to correct it.
I mean, look after Merrick Garland. I mean, come on.
Yeah, just
they rammed these judges through in the dead of night now.
Yeah,
with very little
and that's what we have to do is just find the way to get the most judges out there because this is a war going on here, and they're doing anything they can to win.
Absolutely right, but the difference is that they find people who are loyal to the in-group of repugs and hostile to their so-called out-group, which is the American people. Yeah. We have a plethora of options of extraordinarily qualified judges that represent the ideas
but no
of this
more
country.
But no more of this bullshit like, oh yeah, we don't want to get a judge that's going to be seen as too liberal. Fuck that.
Yeah. In fact, the problem is so bad that Harvard Law cannot even place students to clerk. A federal judge is one of the most prestigious jobs that any law student can have. And nobody from Harvard wants to clerk for any of these judges because they know it would be a scarlet letter so early in their legal career because these are essentially illegitimate judges. They're unqualified. They're partisan. How can anyone expect them to be considered legitimate? All of this attack from the repugs makes it so much more difficult to have a government that works for the people. But we can overcome this by learning how to talk to moderates and, yes, even some conservatives. Cognitive science shows us that we are capable of holding two opposite frames in our minds, and when we activate one frame, we deactivate the other. It's like flexing a muscle. When you flex your arm, your bicep is activated and your tricep is not.
Yeah, bro, you know how it is. Left.
Yeah, how many plates?
Dude, like 30. Shit's crazy.
So straight from Lakoff, even conservatives care about their in-group. And he used the example of during Hurricane Harvey, most of the people who went out to rescue people were conservatives. But what happened was that all of Houston suddenly became their in-group. People are more progressive toward their in-group. They want to increase the freedoms of their groups. So how do we talk to them? Well, first, don't move to the other side. Talk using progressive language, not conservative. You want to activate those progressive ideas. Focus on our in-group nurturance. The worst thing that you can do is to talk in terms of policies, programs, and the government. Do not do that. That makes them hostile to you. It activates a conservative frame. What we want to do is talk about individuals. So, for example, are the people in your community, in your family, in your church who are sick or who have diabetes or cancer but don't have health insurance? Do they need that health insurance?
But my Uncle Cletus, unfortunately, he passed away last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ain't have no health insurance.
He didn't want health insurance?
Nope, because he said if he got it, then that means black people are going to get it. Yeah. And I was like, well, damn, but then you don't get it, dummy. And he was like, well, I'm a soldier, so I guess sometimes soldiers die. But I was like, but Cletus, Uncle Cletus, it don't got to be that way. If mm-hmm. But, so, I don't know, maybe something like some kind of health care for everybody ain't the worst thing in the world.
Well spoken, Cletus.
Thank you, man. I don't hear that enough in my life. I'm be honest with you.
So we asked them all sorts of questions. If people lost their jobs, instead of fighting, ask them, what are you most proud of that you did to help someone else? This activates the frame of helping each other.
And it don't make you a pussy to help people.
Right.
People got to know that.
You activate these frames by being positive. Whatever you do, do not fight against something. You fight for something. And that is a problem. I mean, how many times do we turn on the TV and we hear a newscaster or an anchor say, no, we're not doing this. No, we're not doing that. And always using the repug framing. I would say gun control. We use the words gun control all the time. I don't want to control anyone's guns. I do, however, want the freedom to stay alive.
Yeah.
Without being shot.
The freedom to go to the mall and do whatever dumb mall shit people do, you know? Food court.
Persistence in the positive is far stronger than resistance against the negative. Don't use the negative frame. Build up a positive, progressive frame. So, for instance, real men have empathy for other people, regardless of race, creed, gender identity, religion, or anything else. That's what of, by, and for the people is about. It's what freedom is about. We can also combat conservative lies with what Lakoff calls a truth sandwich. This is where you state the truth, then state a rephrased version of their lie, and then state the truth again.
Hold on now. Now, can you give me an example of what a truth sandwich is?
Absolutely. So, Elizabeth Warren.
Be honest. She's in love with me. She is in love with me. Okay. Sorry, I'm married, baby.
I found a quote somebody wrote about Elizabeth Warren using a truth sandwich, and the writer wrote, quote, Warren showed that she is truthful and, unlike a lot of Republicans, won't be bullied by Trump. Trump promised to give $1 million to charity if Warren took a DNA test that showed that she has Native American heritage. But when she did just that, he broke his promise, as he so often does. Warren is a fighter and will fight for middle class and poor Americans too. So that's the truth sandwich there, right? We start with the positive of Warren, then rephrase the lie, and then go back to the truth. The writer continues, period, the end. No longer debates about whether her tactic was wise. No deep dives into how much Native American ancestry one needs in order to have been listed a long time ago in a law school directory. No second guesses about whether she should have let him goad her into any action. She's a fighter. He broke his promise. She'll fight for us. Boom. Truth sandwich. She's a fighter. He broke his promise. She'll fight for us.
And, you know, some of it is, you know, even simpler. It's just like Trump tweets, you know, Eitan is a weakling or whatever, right? But by the news just even putting that up there, even though it's totally ridiculous because Eitan is jacked, even the news just putting it up there, they're getting that lie out just by the virtue that it's in the news at all. Putting all his stupid tweets on there, even though they're obvious lies, gets them out there. And that's why they need to just not even put them on there at all. Or if they do a truth sandwich.
In a discussion with Professor Lakoff, somebody brought up the GOP tax scam. With the passage of the tax scam, they are setting up to destroy Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. These are programs which we've already paid into, but repugs feel they should take the money from the public good and share it upon their cronies, their in-groups. In fact, Trump has said if he gets a second term, then the first things to go are going to be Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. They're going to give that to the Wall Street casinos to gamble away. Lakoff points out that we should never call them entitlements because that's not what they are. They are earnings. An entitlement is counter to what we as Americans believe. We believe in hard work and we earn what we have. We don't really believe in being entitled to things except for repugs who believe in white privilege entitlement.
Oh, yeah, baby.
These are things that we have earned and we deserve them because we live in a free democracy that has a government for the people and it provides public resources as free democracies are supposed to do. It's necessary even for private life. It is how we ensure our freedoms. Also, remember, the government doesn't provide services. It doesn't provide services. A waiter provides a service, right? The government provides necessities.
Can I start you off with some water right now?
Just tap. Tap is fine.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Thank you. The repug view is antithetical to freedom. And remember, we are in a fight not only for our lives, but for our freedom. Repugs have taken these words like freedom and liberty and twisted and bastardized them to mean that they're free, quote unquote, to take advantage of anyone that they want to. We fought a civil war over the definition of freedom. Progressives said, we believe that freedom belongs to everyone. And conservatives said, no, we believe that freedom belongs to privileged white men to have the quote-unquote freedom to oppress another race.
That's right. What do you call white entitlement?
What?
Whitelement. Whitelement trademark 2020.
So simply you're free to walk down the street, but not free to knock people over. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You're free as long as it doesn't impinge upon the freedoms of others. That's what American freedom means.
Don't tread on me, bro.
And their tax scam is about restricting our freedoms, because 99% of the people in this country will be negatively affected by this tax scam. The top 1% are literally taking the money of the 99%, and instead of investing it in America and in all Americans, they are privatizing and hoarding it for themselves, increasing their so-called freedoms marginally by taking the majority of our freedoms.
They're like Robin Hood, but for the rich.
So we're a reverse Robin Hood, like Prince John, then. Okay, so with all we've discussed about the power of in-groups, there's one more thing that I think that we should close on, and that is repug strategist Lee Atwater once said that he could make Mickey Mouse president. And that was way back in the 80s, the 90s, 1980s.
Oh, boy, Mickey Mouse 2020.
You do not need to be president, Mickey. You have too much power as it is.
Oh, man.
But that's because Atwater knew the power of framing, as does Trump now. And it behooves us as Democrats and progressives, when we have the American people with us, the fact that we keep getting our asses handed to us is downright embarrassing. We should be able to run a progressive in the reddest of red districts. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to do that.
You're lucky Walt's not here. He doesn't like your kind. True story, Walt Disney was
yeah, that's true.
Anti-Semitic.
He also hated unions.
Unions are for pussies.
Yeah.
I'm Mickey Mouse.
We as Democrats have to stop looking outward to hopefully find a savior. Mueller didn't save us. This impeachment isn't going to save us. And even taking back the House, and if we took back the Senate, it's still not going to necessarily save us, because we have so much work to do with the courts and keeping the House and Senate. We glaze over the reality that we have to look inward. We have to look to ourselves, and it is with hard work and sacrifice that change is actually created. That's it for this week. Please give us a rating in Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your podcasts. Please also help spread the word. We're still a new up-and-coming podcast, and word of mouth is how most podcasts get new listeners. So, do it for America.
If you don't love Apotibus Unum, leave it.
Okay. As always, thank you to our supporters, and please go to anchor.fm/epotibusunum to become one, to become a supporter. This podcast means a great deal to us, and we both put a lot of work into it, so we really do appreciate anything and everything that you can do. We're at Epotibus on Twitter and epotibus@gmail, and we love your feedback. Yeah. What do you like? What don't you like? What suggestions do you have? Is there a topic you'd like us to cover? Please tweet at us or send us an email.
Give us a heart in Gmail and give us a thumbs up on Twitter.
Sure.
We're not social media experts.
Okay. Remember, messaging is only half the battle. Mobilization is the other half. And one easy thing that we can do is call our congressperson and call your senator.
And add us to your top 8 friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are also looking for anyone to help out, maybe as a producer, maybe as a friend. If you like
You
politics,
made that sound mad creepy. No, the friend.
maybe
what
not
does
a
that
friend.
mean?
I don't know. Well,
we can't be making friends with people.
A good person. A mensch.
Yeah, or if you're a fan of the show, or if
you're
you're
a fan of the show, yeah.
or if you're a fan of politics, or, or life in general,
Right. You want to help get the
radio, podcasting, audio, stuff like that.
So, yeah, we'd love to try to expand and do more interviews and things like that. So if you or you know someone, then please reach out to us. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.